Hi there, I hope you're doing well. It is rainy and cold here in Raleigh in December, and I am excited about 2020 coming to a close, but I have some gifts I have to make, and I have this awesome laser cutter. And one of the cool things about winter when it gets cold is it's way more comfortable to work in my garage. The laser cutter works better, everything is ready to go. So I have 12 days of gifts coming up, and this is part of that. We are going to be making laser cut jewelry. Yes, we're gonna etch it, we're gonna cut it, and I'm gonna talk to you about using it as a necklace or bracelets or even a keychain if you wanna talk about that as jewelry, but let's just consider keychains as jewelry bling. So let's get started right inside of Illustrator. I'm gonna talk to you about and show you different examples of how you can customize jewelry for the person that you care about and give them an intentional gift and not just something that you bought from Amazon, and you have time to do this. So let's get started. Hey guys, before we get going with the Illustrator part of this video, which is the remainder, if you want to learn how to design your own custom vector jewelry, you can start watching that part next. So this is a trial and error process of making laser cut jewelry. Even if you were to buy a digital file, you would have to get the size right. So it's best that if you design your file so that it can be cut in 3 different sizes. You might want to show it to some other people. I show it to some of the women in my house, my wife and my daughters, to make sure I kind of get the feedback and I'm going in the right direction. That's just with the size. Now, the coloring and stuff like that, that's something that you'll get over time in terms of painting it or applying it or just using the laser color burnt edges. The second thing is I went ahead and removed the actual masking tape from the proof grade materials, or normally I mask things. I have a masker next to my laser cutter. It's important that you can get this done. So instead of scraping away all of that masking tape, I found it best just to kind of remove it or not to use masking tape when you're using pulp base like MDF, draft board, fiber base, because it's recyclable and it could potentially be a good marketing key for your jewelry to know that it's actually sustainable, the fact that you're using recycled materials. Just understand that getting things to look right is a trial and error process. Now let's just get going with the Illustrator part. So as you can see from my images that I had up there earlier, we can create pins, earrings, we can create necklaces. They're relatively small. You can make them out of MDF, which is basically just fibers glued together. You can make them out of leather. It depends what you want to do. You can go to Goodwill and get recycled material. I'm gonna make my own version of these owls, and I'm gonna show you my process in Illustrator. I've been using Illustrator for a while now, and then we're gonna go ahead and get those laser cut out. So I'm not going to trace them. I'm just going to create my own owl here. So I have obviously the ellipse of the head, and then I'm going to go ahead and take off the fill, and I'm going to increase the stroke. I'm going to outline my strokes. So it's really important that you kind of be consistent with the stroke being the line. And right now I'm at 17 point. I'm gonna get my scale down right. If I look here, I want these earrings to be around, I'm looking up here at the top. I want these earrings to be approximately 1.75 wide. So now that I have the width, I can go back and I can make my ellipse a little bit different. And so what I want to do now is create the body. So I'm going to drag and then hold down my Option key and duplicate that ellipse. I'm gonna go change, once I can outline the path, I can change the shape a little bit. And now I'm going to just drag it around. Now, if you see me constrain the shape to 90 degrees, like here I'm dragging it left and right, or I can drag it 45. I'm holding down my Shift key for that. I'm just undoing. So there is the body, and then I need another shape here down for the tail. And don't worry, because we can use the align tool. And again, right now I have the scale set to scale my stroke weight. I don't want that. So it's important that we go back and we just look at everything else and use the align tool and align everything up. All right, now I have this really cool shape that is in the center. We could either use an ellipse, or I can actually just use my pen tool to draw that. So I'm gonna just click drag. This is the most difficult thing you can do in Illustrator. I'm gonna click drag and hold my shift key to constrain that to 90 degrees. I'm gonna escape, I'm gonna hold down my A key, and then I'm thinking about mirroring this. And so now I'm just kind of creating that shape of the inside line that goes next to the eye. Again, when I go ahead and gonna hit the V key to get my object selection, I'm going to just increase the stroke. Matter of fact, I'm gonna select all these, and I'm gonna make sure that I do 16 stroke. Let's go down to 14. So now that's gonna be my shape. Excuse me for showing my desktop. So I'm going to duplicate that after I'm done. I'm not going to worry about that right now because I'm about to use Pathfinder, which is my favorite tool inside of Illustrator. And now I have that. I'm going to grab my circle tool and draw the little eye. Now the eye is going to be not a stroke, it is going to be, so I'm going to flip from fill to stroke over here. And I'm going to use my arrow keys on my keyboard, and I'm just going to position this where I want. Now keep in mind, I'm going to drop this shape out. Now let's align these. I'm using the align tool that's connected at my top ribbon bar. If you don't know where align tool is, go to Window, Align. And that brings up all of my tools on the left, and then I have my align here. So that's not exactly what I wanted, but I'm going to align these 4 shapes center, and then I'm going to start moving my stroke around and start creating my stripes, moving my I'm now going to start using Pathfinder to copy and paste some shapes. I want the I now see that the body needs to be a little bit wider at the top, so I'm going to increase this height. I'm going to go a little bit wider, and then I'm going to grab all these 3 body shapes, and I'm going to use the align tool. Again, I got to go back, except the eye. I'm going to make the stroke weight to be 14, everything. Remember, this is about 1.5 inches to 1 3/4 inch pendant that's going to be going on for a necklace. And then I'm going to put the eyelet here. And the eyelet here looks like it's 0.3, so I'm going to do 0.3125, 0.3125. That's just something I thought about. And this of course, needs to have a shape that goes around it. So I'm going to select that circle right there, and I'm going to go to Object Path, Offset Path. And now for my offset path, I'm going to select preview, and that looks about right. Maybe a little bit bigger, so I'm going to go 0.25 and hit OK. Now keep in mind that I'm going to drop that back, and keep in mind I'm going to switch the fill to the stroke. Keep in mind that I can remove things as I go, but the most important thing with this eyelet is that it's strong enough, but right now it looks a little too big. So I'm going to shrink it down some, and then I'm going to use the align tool. I'm going to align all these objects. Yeah, so I'm happy with that, but I still think I gotta make sure that this eyelet hole is not so big it just distracts from the actual owl. So now what I want to do is start deleting my shapes. I want to save all this, so I'm going to select everything, hold down my Option key, and drag to the right by holding up my Shift key. And now I'm going to start doing the pathfinding tool. Pathfinding is one of my favorite tools. I'm going to remove what's in front, and that didn't work. So this is what's in front here. I'm going to remove that shape from this back shape, but what I want to do is copy this head first. I'm going to copy it to my clipboard, and then I'm going to grab the bottom shape. Now I put this body shape behind this circle shape. The way that I did that is using quick keys, but you basically want to go to Arrange, and then you want to Object, Arrange, and move to back. But these quick keys are very important to learn. And now I'm just going to reduce that. And there I have my head removed from my body. And then I'm going to go to edit, paste in front. And then I have what I want. So now I'm going to do this very similar thing. Now you can see here, if I screw up, I have my original shapes right here. So now that I have my tail, I'm going to put that behind using the quick keys, which are under Object, Arrange, Send to Back. And now I'm going to copy my body. And now I'm going to delete that front. And I'm going to paste my body back, paste in front. And so now I'm getting a little bit closer to what I want. Now, to create this shape for the arc that goes into the beak of the owl, I want to go to Object, Path, Offset Path. Actually, nope, sorry, mistake. Object, Path, Outline Stroke. And now that it's there, I can go and use my A tool, or it is the tool that right here that lets me actually that's the direct selection. That's the selection tool. I'm selecting the A on the keyboard. So now I'm going to move this here, and I'm just going to create matter of fact, I'm just going to delete that point. Go to my delete anchor point tool, and I'm just going to delete that. Selecting A again to give me my V. And I'm starting to get what I want. I'm gonna definitely have to zoom in here, people. So now I'm going to select my A, and I'm gonna start working that arc right where I want it to go. I need to move that there. So I'm going to move my eye. I'm not happy how this is going at all. So I'm going to do a little trick. I'm going to draw an ellipse. And I am going to put a shape of that arc. It's a little trick I have had. I'm going to put a shape of what I want that arc to look like right there. And now I'm going to drag another ellipse in front by holding down my Option key and dragging. And I'm going to be building my shape with a bigger ellipse. Yeah, I'm starting to get there, and I'm going to move my arc. And so now I'm getting to that part that the shape that I want. So now I'm going to delete that from the the bottom ellipse by using my Pathfinder, and now I'm going to shrink this here, and I'm a little bit happier with this ellipse thing than I am with this here. Yeah, this is it. Now I'm just going to go to Object, Path, Offset Path, and I'm going to preview it to a little bit bigger. 0.0625, which is the 16th. Yeah, 0.04. Okay, so this is good. So now I have a shape and a shape, so I'm going to delete that shape, and now I'm starting to get where I want to go here. A tool to move this, and that is good. Now I'm starting to get what I want. I'm going to move that there. I don't want that to break off, so that's good. Oops, I don't like... choosing that arc thing. All right, so let's go ahead and see what that's like mirrored. I'm just gonna select right here at the center point and then mirror that over. I'm gonna grab my eye here. Oh, my eye needs to come over a little bit. I'm gonna grab my eye here, and then I'm starting to get my owl shape that I want. And now this shape here, I'm going to, in order to get this done, I'm going to select the head and copy that. And then I'm going to delete it from this circle and then edit, Actually, you know what I'm gonna do? Since I deleted it, I'm gonna group these together. I'm gonna select both this eyelet outside and the head, and I'm gonna select that. And I can tell it's too big. So I'm gonna move that there, and I have to use my align tool. So I'm gonna select all these and group these together. And now I'm gonna select all of these objects, and I'm gonna use my align tool to align them up. And now I'm getting the little eyelet that I want. I'm still not thrilled with it, but I'm pretty happy with it. So now I'm gonna select this. I'm gonna select the head first, copy the head. I'm gonna select those two shapes, and I'm gonna use the pathfinding tool, and I'm gonna unite that. And now I'm going to drop the eyelet down, and the eyelet is going to take off the fill, and that is the eyelet. And so now I have all of this done. So I'm gonna make sure I align everything. And the next thing I wanna do is copy all of this, and I wanna move, because I wanna save my history, I'm gonna move it up. And now I'm going to just take away the inside of these shapes. The way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to select, I want to take away the outside of these and just leave what's important. Let's do a rounded, to create the feathers of the tail. Let's just do 3. Let's do a center. Let's do 2 actually. So I'm going to group those, and now I'm going to select it all, and I'm going to do the align tool. Now I'm going to group the 2 removal parts of the feather. And actually I'm going to come in a little bit. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 1, 2. I just double click, so I went into that subgroup. And so now I'm going to grab these little tiny things I'm going to minus from the back feather. And I'm going to use the minus front tool. And now I created my shape there of the feather. And so now I got what I sort of wanted. I'm not sure what that is, so I gotta go in and reverse and figure out why I didn't do that. So yeah, that's good. So I'm gonna minus that. There we go. I like that. Yeah, I gotta drop this feather pin down. Okay, now let's get it ready for the laser cutter. This is my final design here. And right here is my final design. I'm pretty happy. I'm not sure what happened here to the head. I liked what happened. I liked this head better. I don't like how that's not connected. So let me see what I have on my clipboard, and I nicely have the head in there. So I'm gonna grab the align tool, and I'm gonna align all of this. And now I'm starting to like this better. Let's see. I'm gonna go to View, Outline. And I can be able to line something up better. I'm gonna go to View, Preview, and now I'm at where I want to be. So I just need to outline this stroke, Object, Path, Outline Stroke, Object, Path, Outline Stroke, Object, Path, Outline Stroke. And now I can start moving this over. I'm saving a copy every time. And now I'm gonna start grouping everything. So I'm gonna select these objects, unite with Pathfinder, unite with Pathfinder, unite, going slow, and unite. So there is my final owl. Now let's go ahead and create an artboard here. and this is where I'll save the SVG and go into your laser cutting app. So I'm calling this the honey owl because it has the bee torso. So again, you know, I started with the first design that I grabbed off the internet. I just figured, okay, let's make an owl. It just looked a little mean. So by positioning the eyes a little bit differently, I got a different expression. So basically an owl does look scowly, but in order to make a cute owl, it's a little bit different. This is actually done in acrylic, and then for the acrylic, I actually left on the masking tape. But what I'm going to experiment with next is I am going to try to put the acrylic inside of the cavity of this walnut that I cut. So this is the walnut that I have, and I really like this walnut plywood, and this is etched, and then I actually like it non-etched in the back. But what I thought about doing was taking the cavity of the acrylic, the inside part of the acrylic, and then going ahead and using acrylic glue because it won't smoke the glass, and putting the cavity inside of the owl. So just like that. So then even the eyes, I'd have to figure out something with the breadcrumb tray, but if you know of how to prevent tiny little parts from falling in the breadcrumb tray, please comment below. But anyways, that's what I'm going to experiment with next, is inlaying different acrylic pieces inside of this particular design. So stay tuned. All right, that's it. Whatever you do, make something that connects someone.